Alright guys, how's it going? Noise Area here. Freedom Faction, whichever one you prefer. You've tuned into another episode of Crisis Corner. And there's something I kind of want to go over with you guys today. And if you've been watching anything in the news, you know that we are now experiencing a little bit of an immigrant invasion across the globe. We're starting to see it here in America. It's already in Denmark. It's in countries like Europe. It's all over the place. And basically, it upsets everything. And it was just way random, came out of nowhere, and it's like a flood, a literal flood of people. Like they're being dropped off, shipped off, left wherever. And it's insane how big this scope is, or at least how many different people have fled. We're talking about numbers in at least the thousands, like 10,000. That's what we're expected to get in the next year or so. That's just here. Or 250,000. My bad. There's all kinds of numbers that we're tossing out there, and I'm not sure if you guys remember, but a few years back, we were dealing with a little bit of a Mexican invasion from our southern borders. And we still really haven't talked about that, and we were already seeing some of the aftershocks of having these migrants come over in our country. So I pretty much have different headlines, different news articles that have popped up that kind of catch my attention as far as what's going on with this whole. It's not a false flag with this whole crisis, this whole refugee crisis. There's all kinds of different things going on, so just pay attention. There's a lot to be said with what's going on right here. Right here, a New York police detective says how radical Muslims embed Sharia law only zones worldwide. Now I think that's very strange. These people, these refugees, they come over from a foreign country. They come, they make their stands. They find other like-minded individuals, other people of their belief and heritage, and then they make these Sharia law only zones where, if you guys read some of the things that are going on with Sharia law, it's definitely not pretty. It doesn't really work in cohesion with how Americans live, or anyone in the Western world. To be blunt, and right here, the leader of Al Qaeda calls on young Muslims to begin lone wolf attacks. Another one that kind of caught my eye that was kind of strange. That was from truthandaction.org. They have great articles, by the way. Whenever something like this pops out at me, it makes me think there's going to be more false flags happening, more civil unrest, so to speak. Some of the things that are going to be happening aren't necessarily what we would expect to happen normally here in America, but because we have this wave of illegal immigrants coming over and these refugees being dropped off here, and even sleeper cells being activated, we're going to see all different kinds of things happening. Mind you, I'm not sure if you're aware, but I'm already going to just say this boldly and blankly. ISIS was created by the CIA. Or at least Al-Qaeda was created by the CIA. And ISIS being a birth baby of Al-Qaeda, there's all kinds of things you need to look into there. Now check this out. Migrants in Denmark say that we don't like Denmark because the refugee salaries are too low there. And I'm not sure if this is a byproduct of first world behavior, but the fact that you're even having a salary as a refugee and being able to work, you should be grateful for that. Never mind so much if the salaries are low. You fled your country. There is no necessary need for you to be there. This is an extension. And for someone to do this, that slaps them in the face. So I hope you guys are getting a little bit of a picture of some of the things some of the way these people think, or at least what the news or what these news outlets are showing out there. It just seems like it's way too much, or at least it's being pushed way too far for everyone. And right here, Russia to the U.S., help Syria or face unintended consequences. So now we have more of a global standpoint in this humanitarian crisis that we're seeing. This is a chance for the New World Order to kind of rear its head momentarily and try to come together as a unified goal, or at least a unified image. I mean, we already have the Pope talking about how we need to accept these refugees into our homes, and if we don't, we're not good people. Like I said, guys, you guys just need to just look at some of these things that they say in passing. It's the general message of all of what's going on that I'm kind of curious about, or at least it stands out to me. In shock, as data reveals, Obama is authorizing 250,000 Muslim migrants into the U.S., not annually. So 250,000 Muslim migrants a year. Think about that. That's why I called this the immigration invasion. How much of this is going to affect our demographics, our social standards? Mind you, these are people that do not adhere to the laws of our own country. And coming over here, clearly they do not care about our country and what we believe in over here. I understand this is a crisis and people need to be taken care of, but there need to be some ground rules as to what's going on here. And look at this one. Mexico is opening its door to Syrian refugees as it joins other nations south of the U.S. border. I think all of these signs are pointing more towards the North American Union. And if you're unfamiliar with that, it is a combination of Mexico, America, and Canada. The same way the EU is full of all kinds of other countries, or at least all kinds of other nations. That's why I keep referring to this as a ploy by the New World Order. This is a chance for them to sort of wedge in ideas. They have to tear down the old world order institutions so that they can come up with these new ones. I know what's weird is we're talking about a wall being built in between us and Mexico, but at the same time, with all these refugees and immigrants coming in all over the place, it's weird. It's very weird. Some of these things are very strange. And right here, Baltimore prepares to accept more Syrian refugees. They've got 26. They have 26 refugees, and they want to accept thousands. And as much of an admirable goal as that is, my question is, well, what about the homeless veterans that we have here? The thousands of homeless veterans that fought for our country to even have the capability to say these things. That's something I feel like we don't even talk about that much. So that's one block that we should deal with prior to even trying to accept more of these refugees. What happens to some of these people that don't work and are on welfare already? And from our own nation, generational welfare, what happens with them? And I bring back the point that we're going to have people that don't necessarily believe or know the history of our country coming here. And they want to accept more? We have people here in our own country that don't work. These people are fleeing their country. And you're expecting them to come here and work perfectly fine and sound? There are issues beyond this that we're really not thinking, ramifications in the long run that we're not talking about. It's getting to a point now to where even Germany's recognizing the chaos. They stopped receiving some. And in Siberia, just the other day, they were using water cannons and tear gas to deal with some of these people. And these are, all of this stuff it's planned, it's escorted, it's shown to you. I mean, the way we're thinking about these refugees, it adds to the dehumanization campaign, devaluing the life of a human. But at the same time, how we're trying to react to this, or at least what will become of this, moves more towards the depopulation agenda. I'm sure you guys have seen that video where it's a bunch of refugees in a camp being tossed food. I don't like the fact that we even have camps being publicly displayed. Now, if you've paid attention to some of the other things that I've written or some of the things I've said, I think that what's going to happen is some of these FEMA safe rooms, or these FEMA camps that we're seeing, some of these refugees will be housed here. And I'll get into some of that on a later day. But I feel like these refugees that come to America, they have a sinister fate. And it's not good, and we really need to take a look at some of these things. Not just the initial emotional reactions, the long-standing logical actions. I mean, obviously we can't kill these people, and I don't like the fact that even pops up in people's heads. But we really need to look at what's going on here. Where's the propaganda and where's the truth? The FBI itself said that there's no way they could possibly vet all of these people, the jihadis and ISIS agents. We really need to take a look back at what's going on. And like I said, there's already sleeper cell agents here in America waiting for the launch attack to have these Sharia law only zones to begin these lone wolf attacks. Like in the Louisiana shooting. Even if it was a false flag, they're trying to stir the pot so that whenever these cells of people come over, and I'm not sure, look at the footage and you can definitely see these are able-bodied men that should be fighting for their country, not fleeing it. It's very rare that you actually see footage of a woman or a family or someone elderly. That's one of the questions you have to ask yourself. Why are these able-bodied people doing these things? Why are they coming over? And if you read some more reports I didn't put up here, but there are increased cases of rape and waves of illegal immigrant crime. Like I said, these are people that come here and do not adhere to what we're doing, to at least what we believe in. It's an immigration invasion. And whether or not you believe it, ISIS is here in America, and ISIS was created by America. That's why you see Russia doing what it's doing. There's levels to this, guys. And they're trying to start, as I'm sure you're aware, the racial civil war. And this is just another step towards that. And let's say, a year from now, we have everything situated and figured out. Because of this, the immigrants that come over now, whoever handles them appropriately now has all of those votes. All of those votes. Think about that. Like I said, guys, just keep your eyes open. Pay attention to what's going on, and don't be afraid to ask questions. Take a step back from being emotional, think rational, and let's come up with a decision. Let me know what you guys think in the comments section. I'll be putting this video up on my website. If you guys need to get a hold of me, just send me an email at freedomsfaction@gmail.com. Stay awake, stay vigilant, and God bless.